Hi, hey. So we've got Instagram and hello, Facebook. This is a Monday episode of If You Only Knew, and I'm your host, Carla Webb, Christian Life Coach. And my guest today is Jamie Lynn Brewer of DayLily Events. And I am so excited because we're kind of new to each other. Up to this point, my guests have been people that I've known for probably quite a while, but I'm really excited to get to know you on a deeper level because we've met at a few events that you have planned and you have put on, and she does fabulous, fantastic. I didn't know it was her until we got to talking a little bit. I'm like, oh my gosh, I went to that event and it was fantastic. So you do a wonderful job. Highly recommend her. So, I would like for you to tell my audience a little bit about yourself and your background and what you do.
Like Carla said, my name is Jamie and I own DayLily Events. I am the lead planner and I mainly do weddings and have been in business almost 3 years in March. So really excited about that, but just kind of helping couples keep their marriage or their future marriage at the center, and not just, it's just your wedding is one day.
Yeah.
And we both know that it's just one day and
then the real stuff begins.
Yeah, then it's happily ever after. And so kind of just navigating that and making planning not a super stressful process, but kind of keeping them at the forefront and all that good stuff. And then I've done, some Love It EVB launch events with Kana Brown. And,
great.
Thank you. And so, yes, so kind of mainly weddings, but potentially getting into other avenues as well.
Well, I'm sure whatever you decide to venture out into, you will be very successful because, like I said, the events that I've gone to that I didn't even know she was the one responsible for were fantastic. They were just, I was like, I want to put something on like this. Well, I was giving Kana the credit.
And we might be. And Kana likes it like that.
So. Yeah. Kana's like, it's on me. Well, she knows the right people.
Absolutely.
So. Well, you have been watching some of the prior, If You Only Knew. She did her homework. All right. The teacher in me is like, yay, star student here. So the premise behind it, just a little bit of a backstory is I come from a place of surviving domestic violence, mainly emotional, psychological, verbal abuse. And there were definitely times throughout the process that I thought, if I was my own best friend, I would be telling myself something really different than what I am telling myself right now as the person experiencing it. So that's kind of where if you only knew, if you could go back and be your own best friend, what would you tell yourself as far as relationships are concerned? And the other side of it was also if you only knew, coming from John 4:10, where Jesus is speaking to the woman at the well, and he says to her, if you only knew who I am and the gift that God has for you, you would ask me for a drink of living water. And I had read that probably 100 times or more in my life. But when I read it from that place of utter thirsting, it totally had a different meaning to me. And that's just stuck with me just Jesus saying, if you only knew, if you only knew. So that's where this whole idea of if you only knew came from. So I want to ask you then, if you could go back and talk to your younger self and be your own best friend, what would you tell yourself in regards to relationships?
Yeah. So, I definitely would go back and tell Jamie that I wanted to get married because I thought that it would complete my life.
So at what age did you start thinking about, I just want to be married?
I can't even remember that.
Like young girl.
Okay. Like looking for the one, checking out cute lifeguards at the, you know what I mean? That one might be the one. I watched probably too many fairy tales and have always been a movie and TV fanatic, and just And I think that part of that was because I never felt enough. I never felt complete on my own.
And why do you think that is? Because so many young girls, and I don't want to put you on the spot with that,
Sure.
but that is such an issue, including myself, for so many young girls at that, I don't know if it's that early teen. I taught middle school for 17 years, and I really saw girls from 6th grade to 8th grade really change. I mean, 6th grade, they're like really confident. Right. And by 8th grade, they are having that, like, I'm not enough. Does that ring true for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that part of it was, my parents were divorced and we didn't live, my stepdad was in the Navy. So we lived down south and away from Evansville. And I didn't move back until 2010. So we would visit a few times a year. So I have a lot of memories in Evansville, but I think it was just, I thought that I had a good relationship with the Lord. And I do think to an extent, I just never really I don't think him completely fill me and make me feel secure enough in who I was. I never felt like I completely fit in anywhere, but tried really hard, probably tried too hard, to fit into all of these boxes and be with the popular group. And I never really appreciated the friends that I really did have that were actually really good friends, because I was always thought that my life needed to be a certain way. And so I guess along with that came, wanting to be, if I just found the one, then I would. And it was happening, especially in college, to everybody around me. And I was never, I always looked for the wrong guys at the same time. So that's a whole nother. But just I always say, I wish I had studied abroad. I wish our nanny actually just left us, our babysitter and one of my main assistants for my weddings. And I cried and I sort of begged her not to go, but not really, because I wanted her to go study abroad and appreciate. So she's in Harlexton right now, living my, English fantasies out there. So I'm excited for her. And so I just want to go back and say, hey, focus on yourself, focus on your friends, just be yourself, and you'll meet the one along the way,
Well, when I work with women in coaching, in relationship coaching, so many times they come to me just not knowing who they are. And that's one of the things, the process that I guide them through is, who are you? And what do you want your life to look like? And then once you get who you are and the life that you want, then you're going to attract that person who is a complement to your life. And I think Stacy referred to as filling that God-sized hole. We are always looking for something or someone to fill that God-sized hole, when the answer to the question is God is the only thing that's going to fill that. And so I truly have seen it so many times over and over again, that once you figure out who you are and you create the life that you want to live, then you're going to attract the person to walk along with you on that. So would you agree with that? Oh, well, I don't want to take the words out of your mouth. I want to be your words.
No, but it's so true. It's, absolutely. And I like you said, and I love Jerry Maguire. And so
you completely.
And I completely agree. It's no, you need to be 100% and I'm going to be 100% and then we're going to come together. Still a really good movie though.
Still a great movie, but
no, absolutely. But I like the word that you said, compliment you. And my husband really does. He balances me out in so many ways, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, my husband is the calm to my storm. Good Lord. If there were two of us together in that, it would woo. So he's definitely the calm. He looks at me like,
I love it. Yeah.
So the second question then is, what is a truth that God has revealed to you about yourself?
So I don't want to cheat and basically say the same thing, but like you said, I think just for me specifically, especially this last year in my business, I like to be appreciated. And I think my clients were kind of filling a void for me, that when I did everything perfectly and, everything was wonderful, then I had that validation. But there were a couple weddings last year that I had some really just kind of out of the circumstances, not even with the bride or anybody really solely, important to the wedding. But it was just rude people or just something. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And I would leave and I called my mom crying and, oh my gosh, you know what? And it took me some time. It made me even go, do I want to do this anymore? Like, is this what I'm meant to do? Is this who I'm meant to be? Is this what you have for me? And it took a period of time for me to really get through that. And so I have just realized he has been showing me that I need to be fulfilled in him. And I will do the best I can as a planner and as a coordinator. But ultimately, you know, and then if they're happy, that's the icing on the cake. You know what I mean? But just looking to him, you know, for my validation and not everybody else.
Yeah. Coming from a business, you know, a business person, did I serve my customer or my client to the best of my ability?
Absolutely.
And in serving God and serving others, and being able to step away and be satisfied with that, even if the outcome wasn't necessarily what you had wanted.
Absolutely.
Is where that comes from. So that's great insight. Thank you so much. I think those of us that, well, I guess it's anybody really. I mean, we are both in a position where we own our own business and we are looking for that validation because we want our businesses to be successful and we want the people that we serve to be happy and feel like we did a good job for them. So it is that yin and yang, that tug and pull of serving God, but then wanting validation.
Absolutely.
And so it's a tough position to be in. So I'm so thankful that you came to hang out with me today. This was so much fun. I love getting to know new people. And one of the events that you had planned for, Kana, was an event that I decided I knew no one there, but I was just going to show up because it seemed like a really cool thing, and it was. And I met some really amazing people. So I'm nice to meet you.
You too as well. Thank you for having me.
So if this is something that rang true with you, you know, reach out to us. Let us know. Put some. Give us a comment. Hi, Cheryl. I see Cheryl. I see Olga. And then on Instagram, I see Missy. And I'm trying to see who all is in there. We're a little further away. But I just thank you for joining us. And as always, if this is something that has been helpful to you, would you just pass it along, share it? That's how we get the word out about what we're doing. We depend upon you to share and let other people know. So word of mouth is the best thing that can happen as far as we're concerned. And also, you know, as I talked about with Jamie about working with clients, you know, that is what I do. Is I do life coaching, relationship coaching, spiritual coaching. And if you are in a place in your life where maybe you're struggling in relationships, or you are your spiritual journey, you just want to dig a little bit deeper and find out what God has for you, you know, reach out to me. Schedule a free consultation. That's where there's no pressure. There's no pressure. I only want to serve, and Jamie, all we want to do is serve, and we want to serve God, and we want to serve others. And if there's any way that we can do that for you, we would just love the opportunity. So no pressure from either one of us. Free consultations. So as always, I just want to end each episode with know that God loves you, know that I love you, and you have a great day.
Bye.
Yay, bye.